WOAY ABC4 Community Forum, where we talk to community leaders and local success stories to discuss important information that affects Southern West Virginia. I'm your host, Lake Lewis Jr. Today we are joined by another distinguished guest. Today we have Mrs. Doris Boyden McCormick, who is the chair of the CARE Committee. She joins us this morning, so welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
This has been a making that was supposed to happen weeks and weeks ago, so I'm honored that you're sitting here with us today. It's an honor to have you here, and this is an important subject.
Yes.
As Ms. McCormick sits here, I do want to, kind of give credit to her brother as well, for making this instrumental for all of us to get together. So make sure, when you talk to him again, congratulate him that you did make it in here.
I will tell him.
All right, so Greenwood Memorial Park Cemetery. It's a historically black cemetery, only two in Beckley.
Yes.
And you're here to let everyone know why they need help, folks, to keep the cemetery going on as far as the cleanliness of it, as far as the upkeep. And there's a lot of history in the cemetery. So can you shed some more light on this?
Greenwood Memorial Park is a area where I'm dedicated to.
Okay.
And our committee is too, because there's three other people that are on this committee.
Okay.
And that is Bishop Fred T. Sims, Leonard T. Powell, and Miss Kenny Mae Warner.
Okay.
And we all work together to try to keep things going at the cemetery. A lot of work, cost a lot of money.
I can imagine.
To maintain it. We just want people to know that it's there, that it needs care, and that we are dedicated to what we're doing.
Well, I saw that, what's happened is a lot of people who used to keep it up, they've passed on. So now you have the younger generation, and they're a little different from, some older generations as far as the work. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but, so now you're trying to find people that want to take on this project.
Yeah.
And this is a historical project. I mean, you're talking about a cemetery that was established in 1928, specifically to help bury black people who had passed. So now you have something, almost 100 years later, a century later, that needs some help. So we're going to plug, ways you can help and donate, and we're going to give you the P.O. box information, all of that stuff. But I did want to ask you, how long have you been involved with this?
Our committee was formed in September of 2008.
Okay.
And the reason that the committee was formed was a committee member, Mr. Quincy Madison. He used to be on the committee, and he stepped off. But we would just ride around after church. And so we went by the cemetery, and there was a man cutting grass over there. We had no idea who he was.
Oh, wow.
And so we went over and we said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I can't take this anymore." So he was there with a weed eater.
Oh, wow.
And we discovered graves that we didn't even know were there because they were covered up with grass.
So the cemetery obviously was established in 1928, but obviously there are graves that predate that, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Wow. And this is a majority of African Americans who are there.
Probably some Civil War, some Spanish American War veterans.
Wow.
We don't know where we can find them because we haven't walked the cemetery to get that information.
Right.
But it has its historical value, and what I think about is the fact that there are so many people that are buried there, and just think of the knowledge.
Absolutely.
That is there.
The history.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and you also want to make sure that, people who've passed on, or as we say, gone home, you want to make sure that they can rest in peace.
Exactly. I think that they deserve a resting place that is beautiful. And right now it is beautiful, but it took a whole lot of work, lots of work. Because when we started out, we didn't have anybody to help us. And we had community days where
Okay.
members of the community came.
come
They
out.
brought their weed eaters, their lawnmowers, and they cut the grass.
Yeah, see, that's, I mean, and you know, there are a lot of people out there that will do that. The gentleman you just mentioned, obviously, he was someone that volunteered himself to keep that
Exactly.
clean. You know, there's a lot of cemeteries that I've seen since I've been here in Oak Hill. You know, we come to Beckley on occasion,
Okay.
but it seems like some of the cemeteries I've seen up here are well kept. And, you know, so to have a historically black cemetery and for it not to be upkept, I mean, we definitely want to do something about that.
Yes. And since we've been doing the work over there, there have been people that have driven through the cemetery because they didn't even know it was there.
Whoa.
So that makes us feel good because you can see it from the interstate.
Okay. So how big is the cemetery, if you don't mind me asking?
It's 11.35 acres of land.
Yeah, we definitely got to do something about that. I mean, you know, just the email that I received a couple months ago from your brother, you know, he mentioned, you know, that a lot of the people have passed on who were doing a lot of the work for it, and that they're trying to find new people that can do that. I mean, listen, if you're a young person right now, these are the type of things that community endeavors that you need, and you know, not to sound like your dad, but you know, these are things you can put on your resume. These are things that look good for your college. You know, when you try to get into college, they look at these type of things. So, and it's for a bigger cause. It's for a great cause. So, if we can encourage you to get out and do that, and you know, help Mrs. McCormick and the committee at CARE to get out there in Beckley and do that, then why not?
Exactly. Because, and then on top of that, we have a caregiver, caretaker. His name is Larry Blevins.
Okay.
Dedicated, truly dedicated. And he and his crew are over there. Sometimes you go over there at night and you can see the lights on the lawnmower where they're cutting grass.
Oh, wow.
So they're truly dedicated, and that's the reason that it looks the way that it does, because of his dedication.
Nice. And if you could get a couple more people with him, it would be immaculate. So how often do they get a chance to come in and cut the grass? And
He's there every day.
Oh, wow.
He's there every day. And now the rain probably has hindered him, but he is there. He or one of his crew members is there every day, because it takes, just think, you got 11.35 acres of land to cut.
That's a lot.
Plus, you have to weed eat around every marker that is there. And like on Memorial Day, when all the arrangements are put on the graves, we have a sign that asks you to come back and pick up your floral arrangements. If you don't, then they have to go around and pick every one of those up.
And the ducks will come too. I know where my mom's buried. That's, you put those flowers in there, you're lucky they last 2 days because the birds come. So, you know, I wanted to ask you, with all of the work that is there, how often would you like to see, you know, that upkept? I know you said he's there every day, but as far as like an actual crew that could come out and donate time and volunteer, how often would you like for them to be there?
At least, well, I don't go over there every week. So
Sure, I understand.
you know, as long as he's there and he can do the work, we just need to let him know that we support him.
Okay.
And that if there is anything that he needs, because we have to have grass seed, we have to have hay to cover over the graves
Sure.
that have been dug. So if we can take those, get those donations and buy the grass and the grass seed and give him that stuff to take care of it.
That would be great.
Yes.
I also saw that you, I think in your family, you have a couple generations of family members who are buried there as well?
Yes. There's, well, it starts with my grandfather and my grandmother, and they had 11 children. Most of them are buried at Greenwood in just one plot. You can just sit there and walk around, and they're all there.
Nice.
So yeah, it's family. And when you think about it, and you walk through the cemetery, there's a whole lot of just families, the family members that are there in one plot.
Well, you probably have to keep in mind that was probably the only place they could be buried at a certain time in
Exactly.
unfortunate part of our history.
Exactly.
So obviously that takes on even more meaning. And I'm sure that does hit you even harder, that your family's there, your lineage is there, so you want to make sure that they're resting peacefully.
Yeah, because before we were able to get Mr. Blevins to come and just concentrate on taking care of all of this, we had a gentleman, he's deceased now, his name was J.T. Monroe. J.T. would go over on Memorial Day with a weed eater, and people would pay him to go and get the grass and everything, because the grass was up to my knees.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That's how tall it was.
Yeah, that definitely needed to be upkept.
And it's hurtful when you go over there and you see that it hasn't been taken care of.
As far as people right now who may want to buy a plot, or they're interested in having a loved one potentially buried at the cemetery, are you guys still open to do those things? We
aren't. They have to contact Richie and Johnson Funeral Parlor, and Mr. Leonard Powell is one of the owners, and he's one of our committee members. So to get a burial plot there, that's where you go.
Absolutely. And people still reach out?
Yes.
Okay, so if we get everything, make sure it's taken care of, there are going to be a lot more people reaching out, so that's the goal.
I hope.
All right, so we're going to talk about, in our next segment, we still have about a minute or so left, and obviously right now, joined by Mrs. McCormick here, doing a great job. And you're not nervous, are you?
Yeah.
No, you're not. She's doing great. So when we come back, though, we'll talk about, any kind of upcoming events or fundraisers that are coming up. And we're also going to give you the P.O. box. So if you do want to make a donation, which I highly encourage, we'll give you that information as well. And right now we're talking about Greenwood Memorial Park Cemetery. As a matter of fact, we'll let you, so we can do it a couple times, we'll let you plug the P.O. for if anyone wants to make a donation. We can do that right now.
Okay, it's Greenwood Memorial Park. Oh, no, it's CARE. C.A.R.E.
C.A.R.E.
Okay, P.O. Box 3111, East Beckley Station, Beckley 25801.
All right, folks, and we're going to give you that information again when we come back in our second segment. Lots of good stuff here today on our Sunday WOAY Community Forum, Greenwood Memorial Park Cemetery. So we're going to give more information about them, and it's located in Beckley, so right here nearby us here in Oak Hill, so right down the road. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have more here on our WOAY Community Forum. Stay with us. Well, welcome back to another Sunday WOAY Community Forum. This is the second part of today's show. And today we've got a great guest on with us. Another distinguished guest joins us, Mrs. Doris Boyden McCormick, who's the chair of the Care Committee. And we've been talking about Greenwood Memorial Park Cemetery, and they're looking for help. They're looking for volunteers that can come help keep the cemetery up. And it's a historic cemetery that's been around for a long time. So we're going to do our best today to try to get everyone's interest for this beautiful, beautiful cemetery. You've got a lot of things that are coming up. We're going to give the P.O. box again for people who want to do donations, but you have some hopeful events that are coming up that we can talk about.
We are hoping, and that depends on the COVID counts, as to whether we'll be able to have it, but we're trying to get together a fundraiser.
Okay.
It'll be October the 1st.
Okay.
At Heart of God Ministries.
It's my sister's birthday, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm just, it reminded me. Okay.
Heart of God Ministries, where Bishop Fred T. Sims is the pastor. And that program will be at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
We're asking each person that comes to give a $10 donation or more at the door. Okay. Normally we do a patrons list.
Okay.
But this time we're not going to do that.
Sure.
We're just hoping that people will be generous when they come.
Okay.
The artist that we're working on is Miss Crystal Tucker.
Okay.
And there's a group out of Charleston called the Gospel Family Affair.
Okay.
And then Rodney Boyden.
Nice, nice.
So we're hoping that we're going to be able to get that off the ground, and that will be our fundraiser. We will be sensitive to COVID.
Sure.
And we will ask everyone to please wear your mask.
Absolutely.
And adhere to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of COVID, I ask everyone who sits in the chair you're sitting in now, when they come on, how has COVID affected business for you? Because obviously it's affected how we do things in the world today. But over the last 2 years, how has it affected business for you? And have you found out that anything you've implemented because of COVID has actually worked, so maybe you're going to keep doing that going forward?
We haven't implemented anything. We just haven't been able to have our fundraisers.
Okay.
And that has affected our ability to pay Mr. Blevins.
Sure.
And because it costs us $2,400 a month to keep the grass cut.
Yeesh.
And that's not counting the other things that we have to take care of, the grass seed and the hay. So as far as COVID is concerned, it's affected us in our pockets.
Yeah, as a lot of people.
Yeah.
The good thing is that a lot of the stuff that you're talking about as far as the cemetery is outside. So there really wouldn't be, if there's a person out there that, understandably could be concerned about that, outdoors is a better environment, to not have that spread. So, if that's something that you're concerned about, that's a good thing. And I still would encourage you, wear your mask, and you still could be outside helping the grounds crew.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. And we do have people that send donations every month.
Okay.
We get those donations every month, and that helps.
Yes.
But it's just not enough.
Well, hopefully being on television will help as well. So you do know you're going to have to come back, though, at least 2 more times before October 1st. You'll gladly do it, I'm sure, if it's going to help the cause.
For the cause, I will.
All right. She's a little camera shy, she said, but she doesn't look like it today. not even a little bit. As far as kids, I always ask this question, too. We joked a little bit earlier as far as some of the kids, volunteering isn't kind of their thing anymore. Community service is kind of, falling away a little bit. But there are some kids, thank God, there's some kids out there that still want to help and do things. Would you encourage kids to get involved in this project?
Oh, yeah, by all means.
I mean, when you think about what they can get out of this, like I said, you can get, maybe even college credit, I don't know, but it's a feel-good thing for you, and it's good to give back somehow.
And community service is a big thing now. And it would help them, and we gladly give them something in writing.
Yeah, a nice recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah, so
We'd
I'm
be
telling
more
you,
than
it would
happy
be
to do
great.
that.
better than just, sitting around and not doing anything.
Exactly.
As far as the summer, do you find it being more of a strain as far as the upkeep in the summer? Grass grows a lot faster, things of that nature.
Like I said, they're there every day.
Even in the winter as well?
In the wintertime, he's over there because the way the cemetery is located, you have to go up on a hill, so he's over there cleaning snow.
Oh, wow.
So that, the hearses can get in. And just recently, our councilwoman, Janine Bullock, helped us in getting monies to lay down gravel, because we've had situations where one of the roads in the cemetery, the hearse got bogged down in mud.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
But with her help, we were able to get the money to put new gravel down, and that helped tremendously. So those are the kind of donations
Sure.
and things that, really help us. Now, when we originally started, Bill Withers sent us $5,000.
Nice.
So,
okay.
and people are good about giving us monies.
Do you have not to put you on the spot or anything like that, but is there like a bottom line, dollar amount that if you could hit that amount, it would really make life that much better? I mean, you can say it, $1 million, 100,000. I mean, just
bunches.
Whole bunches of money. You never have enough.
Yeah,
Right.
never. Because if you take the $2,400 and we look at $2,400 for April through October.
Okay.
So, it just takes a lot of money, and Mr. Powell has had to pick up the slack because we haven't had the money. Because when we originally started, we had enough money that we could pay Mr. Blevins.
Got you.
So, yeah, any donation.
And that's good.
Regardless
so that's what we're
of
saying.
how small.
Yeah, and don't feel like if you can only give $1. I mean, it's $1 that wasn't there yesterday. So, anything that you can do to help.
Yes.
I'm going to do something myself, so we're going to do whatever we can to help the situation. As far as the history, of the cemetery, you mentioned that there are war veterans who are there. Have you guys ever had, field trips or anything from schools to maybe come by, and talk about the history of it?
We've never
those are
had
things that could be good.
They'd be good ideas.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Madison and I, excuse me, sometimes we would just walk through the cemetery and we looked at each other one day and we laughed because we said, a whole bunch of these people we know. They were in our lives. They were part of our lives.
Wow.
So it's a history lesson just walking through the cemetery and looking at the graves. The other thing is, excuse me, a lot of the markers are sinking. We have a problem with that. And so we try to get in contact with the families to tell them that they need to get the person that's responsible for putting them down to come back and correct them.
Yes.
And so that I would ask, if anyone has a family member there at Greenwood, please come.
Just reach
and
out.
Look at the marker.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And if there's anything that we can do or any suggestions that we can give, then we'd be more than happy to do it. But we need them to take responsibility for their loved one, because it is not a cemetery where when they bury them, we take care of everything. That's not it.
Okay. And that makes perfect sense. As far as walking around and seeing some of the history in there, do you have an idea of like the oldest gravesite you've seen?
I know Mr. French was the first person, and I think he was buried. Dr. Collins bought this in 28, and I think Mr. French was buried there in 1928.
Okay, so that's probably one of the oldest markers. Wow. Okay. I mean, I wonder if his family ever still comes through, or man, that's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. And see, a lot of the markers and the graves that are there, a lot of the families are not here anymore.
Right.
There's no one really here to even look after them and take care of them.
To keep them up.
Yeah.
So as far as the markers are there, you have obviously tombstones.
Yes.
You have flat markers
Yes.
as well. So it's a variety.
It's a variety.
Okay. Is there a mausoleum or anything on site at all?
No, Mr. Powell has 2 crypts for his mother and his family. They're there.
Okay.
But no mausoleum, because we really don't have the property
Got you.
and the space to do that.
Got you.
We'd love to.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, it's good that, I mean, people still can get plots or something like that.
Yes.
So it's still open for business,
Yes.
literally.
Yes.
And we're trying to get this thing set up so that you would want your loved ones to be there. And you said both your grandparents are buried there? Mm-hmm. And is that as far back as it goes?
Yeah. My father's mother and dad are buried there. Excuse me. And my
That's okay.
mother's mother is buried there.
So you remember going as a kid, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
definitely a different look
Oh,
to
yeah.
it and everything?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when do you think, I mean, you obviously not think, as you know, I mean, obviously I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but when would you say things started to kind of turn, I don't want to use the word for the worse, but just, you know what I mean?
Well, it was probably, I'm thinking, it was probably in the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
You started seeing the grass growing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you would call and complain,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing was done.
So whoever was in charge of that just kind of let it fall by the wayside. And they're not in control anymore, though, right?
No, she's deceased.
Okay, okay, all right. So, and now this is your
because
passion.
her daughter is the owner of the cemetery now, and we just went to her and told her, we just want to take care of it.
Right, just kind of give us permission, right.
To go on the property, and so she gave us permission to do anything we wanted to do. So that's what we've done.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's a good thing. There's somebody upstairs taking care of that. You know that.
Yes.
All day. You already know that.
Yes.
So look, folks, right now, this has just been great for us, and it's been a historical lesson at the same time. And we're going to give you a chance. We have about a minute left, so I want you to plug the P.O. box again for donations, so we can make sure we get some money sent to Mrs. McCormick.
It's CARE, P.O. Box 3111, East Beckley Station, Beckley, West Virginia 25801. If you don't send nothing but $1, that's better than nothing
Every
at all.
dollar helps. If it's 10
Yes.
people today that sends $1, that's $10 that wasn't there. So
Yes.
let's make sure we all try to do our part. And I'm going to get you back on here again. I mean, I had a great time with you. This is really good. And if we're going to
thank you
do this
for doing it.
fundraiser on the 1st of October,
Yes.
then we've got to make sure we get you on at least 2 more times.
Okay, we're hoping that that COVID will stay away and God will bless us, that we'll be able to have that fundraiser.
So we're going to do it because he blesses us all the time.
Yes, exactly.
All right, folks, we've got to wrap it up, and we appreciate you joining us today. Have a great remaining part of your Sunday, and remember, I'll be back on here first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. for news.